Hi, I'm Cherie Barber.
And I'm Stephen Tolley, and we're from Renovating for Profit.
Steve and I are full-time professional renovators. We've renovated about 35 properties over the last 10 years, and we transacted about $50 million in real estate. Now, we've got a wealth of knowledge that we'd like to share with people such as yourself, and you can hear some of this knowledge at our upcoming speaking events.
What we do is we buy old dumps and we turn them into large amounts of cash. The way we do this is we buy underutilised blocks and we turn them into beautiful homes. Sounds easy, right? Well, it's not. Not if you don't know the basic fundamentals that must be achieved when renovating a home.
Now, when it comes to renovating, profit is the name in the renovation game. And that means you need to know all the steps in the renovation process. You don't want to renovate for months on end only to make a huge loss at the end of your project. We've heard all the renovation horror stories. People's budgets spiral out of control, timelines blow out, marriages break up. You need to ask yourself, why are there such horror stories around? And it's simply nothing more than people not having the right knowledge.
That's right. So why do some people earn 5, 10, 100 times more than most other people? Could it be that they work 100 times harder? Or could it be that they work 100 times smarter than most other people? Well, the answer to that is simply no. They've just learned some rules about making money that others have not learnt as yet. See, when we started renovations, we knew absolutely nothing about renovating homes whatsoever. Yet, we still made phenomenal amounts of profit. We would see builders coming with 15, 20 years experience, come into areas that we were experts in and work for 6 months, 12 months and make no money time and time again.
And even lose money.
Absolutely, and we couldn't work out why, because these were the experts in the industry. It was because they didn't understand the basic fundamentals that must be achieved when renovating a home.
So what are those basic fundamentals, Steve?
Absolutely. What we're going to teach you in our workshops are the 3 key objectives that must be achieved when venturing into renovations. You'll need to know the true value of a property. You'll need to know your total renovation costs, not just some of them. And you'll also need to know exactly how many dollars you will receive for that property and when you will sell that property.
It's a pretty basic formula, but it's not a lot of common sense to a lot of people. So let's explain this in a little bit more detail. Okay, so there are 8 steps in the renovation process. Not 3, not 5, but 8. You need to do all these things right. Now, the very first step is step number 1, targeting in an area. This is where you decide where you're going to invest, where you're going to concentrate your efforts. Step number 2 is about suburb due diligence. Now, due diligence means research. So all this step is purely about is researching your suburb and getting to know as much as you can about that suburb and be as intimate with it as possible so you become a property expert in it. Step number 3 is about property due diligence. This is where you do your research on the individual property at property and street level. Okay. Step number 4 is about analysing the potential. Now, this is a step that a lot of people get very confused with. They don't know what property actually presents true profit potential. So this particular step focuses on how you can identify properties that you can make a profit from.
Actually, just a quick note on that, Cherie. If you fall short on any of the 8 steps, you will put yourself in the high risk category of losing money each and every time.
That's so important, Steve, actually. Okay, step number 5 is about acquiring the property. This is what you need to do to make the property yours. There are a lot of creative strategies that professional renovators use that can actually sweeten the deal, so you need to know these things. Step number 6 is about creating a higher and better use for a property. Now, if you're a structural renovator like Steve and I are, where you're doing alterations and additions, this step is particularly important because you do need to get formal council approval, and that's a process in itself. Step number 7, and this is one of the more interesting steps that people tend to put their hands up and say it's all too hard, is the actual renovation process, and this is actually doing the work. Now, the beauty of it is that you don't need to do the work yourself in a lot of cases. It's all about effective project management, so we're going to teach people this in that particular step. And the very last one is the resale process. So this is what you can do to the property to attract the widest amount of buyers in the market possible and gain the highest price for your property. They're all fairly simple things, but there is a systematic approach to renovating. It's really important that you need to know this.
We go into the 8 steps in great length in our workshops. We speak about them for hours, but for now, let's just go into step 2, which is suburb due diligence, and go through a few basic points.
So Steph, you might want to add that suburb due diligence is just purely about the suburb and the infrastructure within that suburb. It's got nothing to do with the property, just the suburb.
Absolutely. You need to get intimate with your suburb. You need to understand the demographics. Who's living in that suburb? Is it white collar workers, blue collar workers, professionals, family owners, business owners? You need to understand who's living. You need to understand all the people that are living inside your suburb, because these are the people that will be purchasing the property from you.
And And Steve, that's really important too, to understand what the demographics are doing within the area. You see, in our suburb, people moving in their 20s, they love the area so much that they don't want to leave. And what happens is they buy a 2-bedroom semi. As they get older and start having children and get married, they suddenly have a need for a larger family home. So what we do is we buy the 2 small bedroom semis, we convert them to larger family homes, and it's all about supply and demand. Now, one of the other most important things to realise is that there are price pockets within a suburb. You can have very high property values and then substantially lower property values just one street over, and that can be because that adverse street factors exist, or you may have a positive street factor that can really impede on your selling price. So as a professional renovator, you need to know these things. Again, it all comes back to supply and demand. If you really know your suburb, you can really capitalise on the renovation opportunities within your suburb and make phenomenal profits in property renovation.
So as you can see, there are a lot of steps in the renovation process. Cherie and I have spent 10 years achieving phenomenal results on all our renovations, and we've been fine-tuning all our processes and systems.
There is a lot of information. We've only given you a very small taste of it in this video today. What we'd love to do is share a lot more information with you. So what we'd like to do is invite you to come and see us at one of our next speaking events, where you can make a life-changing decision to improve your financial futures. Come along and see us. We'd really love to see you too.
Absolutely. So the sooner you make a change, the longer you will benefit, and we really look forward to seeing you there.